This YCN segment is brought to you by New London Hospital, an affiliate of Dartmouth Hitchcock.
Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Andrew Zerhide. We move over to the hardwood and the NBA, where the Boston Celtics, their winning streak comes to an end last Wednesday night against the Miami Heat down in Miami. They win the next two, and then they fall to the Pistons a couple nights ago. Right. So they're 2-2 in their last 4 games, kind of coming down to earth. Mm-hmm. We knew they were going to win, 80 games in a row and go 80-2, but still playing some good basketball and still leading the Eastern Conference. So, a quarter of the way through the season, can't really complain about that.
Yeah, I think after losing Gordon Hayward, a 16-game win streak, I think if someone predicted that after that injury, they'd be called crazy. So I think, the Celtics were kind of playing above what they should be playing. But, I mean, they're still a very solid team. In losing to the Heat and the Pistons, I think both of those teams, come the end of the season, they'll be toward the top of the Eastern Conference. I think they're both very solid squads. And especially the Pistons, we saw Avery Bradley once again. Yep. And how it seems like every season he's getting better and better. With that Pistons game, I think the Celtics offense, it was solid. I think both teams had a solid game offensively, but just the turnovers were really bad, and I think that's really what doomed them. And that's during that streak, their turnovers were very limited. So if they can continue to not turn the ball over, I think they can get another win streak going. Definitely.
Right, and we talked about obviously their offense was playing really well, but some of the underlying statistics weren't showing a great offense. Right. But you're right, when you don't turn the ball over, you got more chances to score, and you're rebounding well, you're getting offensive rebounds, so they just got to limit the turnovers. One player we've talked about a lot, Marcus Smart, who's been an interesting player. Through that whole win streak, he was really playing terrible, shooting like 25%. But they kept winning, and he was playing great. He was having contributions on the defensive side, ball movement. Then he has a couple good games. One of them was that loss against the Pistons, where he was like 6 for 7 from 3 or something. Yeah. Great game, and they lose. I don't know. Maybe you can figure this guy out. He's decent, but he's not great, and it seems when he has a good game, they lose. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I think with Marcus Smart, we kind of saw toward the end of that game, he was hot from three-point land. I think he hit, like you said, like 6 threes and like 7 shots. But then toward the end of the game, I know they were down by points. They kind of had to start doing this, but he was kind of just putting up threes. It's like, now that I've hit a bunch, I can just start taking bad shots. Right. He's got to be smart about it. Right. And I think early on in that game, he was taking smart shots, and he was knocking them down. I think I heard some statistics. He was one of their leading field goal takers. He shoots a lot. He shoots a lot, right? And with a guy like Marcus Smart, I don't think that's a good plan. Right. I think he's getting better as a shooter, but really his game is defensively and setting screens, kind of off the ball stuff. If he can shoot like that, I think you have him as a normal shooter, just a normal amount. You can't have him take a quarter of your team's shots.
Well, because he was going in that winning streak, he was going 1 for 9 and stuff like that. So he clearly needs to pump the brakes a little bit on some of that shooting. But a team that's catching the Celtics now, which we all knew, the Cavaliers, they've won 9 in a row after last night's victory, and they're kind of right where we expected them. They struggled to start. And they don't even have Isaiah Thomas. Right. LeBron James getting thrown out last night's game for the first time in his career. But this Cavaliers team, we all knew they were going to get there. And now with that 9-game winning streak, they're right there.
Yeah, and Isaiah Thomas doesn't come back at all yet.
January, I think.
And some people were talking about the Celtics Cavaliers trade, and right now it looks like Boston has clearly won that trade. But Isaiah Thomas hasn't played at all. Right. And so when Isaiah Thomas comes back, it's going to be interesting to see how the Cavaliers do. It's interesting to think, could that hurt the team even with Isaiah Thomas and kind of how much he had the ball last year, and now obviously playing with the king LeBron James? How is that going to change the dynamic of that offense? It's going to be interesting to see, definitely.
Right, because we see Isaiah come back, and it's probably going to take a couple weeks to gel and get back into things. And you're right. Last year, he was the number 1 option, and at times really the only option. Now they'll have Wade, and, Dwayne Wade is a lesser extent. Obviously, LeBron's number 1, but Wade too. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that team. I still think at the end of the year, it's Celtics and Cavs. They'll both be right there at the top.
I agree,
So a lot of NBA to go. As people say, the season doesn't even start until January or after Christmas, but some exciting games going on right now as well. We'll take our final break. When we come back, we'll talk some college football. The rankings have been announced for at the end of the regular season, conference championship games coming up, and a whole lot to talk about there, and we'll make our Salt Hill Pub picks of the week. You're watching YCN Sports Talk.